Oh, man.
Another beautiful day.
A little extra beautiful if you don't, if it's just me, or is the clouds a little extra crispy?
I mean, yeah, they're extra crispy, but is there such thing as... I think not. We call that gorgeous.
I agree.
Most definitely.
Another
day and afternoon.
Another wonderful afternoon, and
what are you looking at?
I'm looking at Big Stevie Dub over there chunking deuces. I see him.
Oh yeah. Shout out to the Lady Mains. Got Nikki.
Felicity.
Bell. Shout out to the ladies, man.
I see Nikki White making her way in.
Josh Dunson and Whitney. Look at Whitney making it in.
Oh, of course. We could not. Whitney and Abby. Look.
Whitney and Abby.
Whitney,
right?
Abby, and Felicity. That's like, and then you got Nick. I'm telling you, they represent, man. The Lady Mains is in the building, man.
Yes, sir.
I love it.
Yes, sir.
Proxy, what it do?
Got Daniel Dodds. What's good, man?
Hey. Say we get it. Oh, who else we got?
You got S.G. Cavi. Or excuse me. It was what? Kavai, right? Kavai.
That man say put some respect on his name.
Right. Most def.
Enunciate.
Then of course, you got everybody's favorite, Sir Glass Half Full.
Mike flipping Porter.
Yes, sir.
That is it. And I say, we join the people.
Let's go.
Yeah. What it do, neighborhood?
Right. What it do? We have arrived on this Sunday.
So indeed, let's get it popping, y'all. Happy Sunday afternoon. It's your boy Al. It's your boy Lavis. This is the Den of Nerds Live. And we are here with you.
The people.
Yes.
Indeed. How are you?
I'm doing great. And then, I had to don the nice headphones because I caught some people get lost in it like I'm Hypnotoad.
Well, hey.
So, there you go.
Between that and the silky smooth voices, man, what else?
What else can you ask for?
What else can you ask for,
Right.
Speaking of,
the people.
Did you get everything that you could ask for out of the latest episode of Falcon and Winter Soldier, my guy?
I guess with the new shift in expectations, I would have to say yes. Looking at it from the new perspective, from a fresh perspective, actually, I would have to say there are a lot of different elements that they put, and they went places I didn't think they would go.
I agree 1,000%.
I have to strike that as great. And it seems like they at least did the opposite of what I was thinking they would do. And having low down episode 6, a laid back episode 6 like episode 5 was.
Right.
I'm glad they got that out of the way.
Agreed. See, and we talked about that too, right?
Things I was saying it's all the things that I was like, how are they gonna? Yep, and it was like, this is how we're gonna.
Exactly. But yeah, man, it was quite the episode, man. Like, I have to say, I was already looking at it as a 10, and I am shocked that only on a 0.5, a scale of maybe 0.5 of a point, did they disappoint.
That's not bad, though.
No, it's not. Especially when you had so much riding on that episode, man. Like,
right.
It was the second to last. You had all kind of hype. They said it was the best episode of the series. It was going to be, all kind of stuff going down. And indeed, it was.
Yes.
Right out the bat, starting with the showdown, man. Like, that caught me off guard a little bit because if you remember, I thought they would kind of lean into like the media hype and coverage surrounding what happened with John Walker. Right. But they didn't even go there, which was interesting, but it made perfect sense in turn when you get further into the episode why it didn't go there. Because they saved, and I don't want to jump straight to it, but they saved the big, I guess you could say, social commentary section to be for the most impactful scene, I think, in the entire series so far. I think that was the most impactful. But going back to the beginning, man, I thought going into it, like I said, I thought it was going to be focused on the media coverage, but then they switch it on us and they immediately have Sam and Bucky show up on some, let me get that up off you.
Yeah.
Like,
for sure.
Like straight up, man. Like it was like, nah, bro, like you don't need that. You need to go on and hand that over here. Let us do something with that. And
right. Yeah.
Was it me? Let me ask you this. Was it just me, or did it seem like for a split second Sam might actually talk John down?
Yeah, it did for a split second until my man had to bring up the shield. Once he brought up the shield, that was it. My man's guard went right back up. He was like, "Oh, y'all just want this. Y'all don't care about me." You know, like most people will go that direction.
Yeah.
As soon as you throw an object in there,
that's what's
as soon
up.
as you put anything in front of them, that's not.
Oh yeah.
That's not to do with them. It's like, oh, okay, that's what I think. But they were right for that though. He had to come up off it. Exactly.
Like there was no way that he was going to be able to continue to be Cap after the way he showed out. Like that was just, and they did, in that episode, we already talked about that, but they did an excellent job of kind of like juxtaposing that. I went back and watched that scene again, and I didn't realize how much the Civil War vibes were in that scene, like particularly like Cap with the shield with Tony and kind of just disabling the suit as opposed to like decapitating the man like John Walker. So going back, and it was crazy. It was crazy to see that, the way that they went straight for dude. And that fight scene though, like for people that was like, oh, we don't get any action and whatnot, that was intense, and it felt cinematic. Like it felt like I would see that fight scene in a movie. You know what I'm saying? Like it was crazy. But they get the shield, and then they kind of go their separate ways, which again kind of caught me off guard. But it set up two, I think, really, really key scenes in the episode. And I want to start first with Bucky and him going back to Zemo, or going to track down Zemo, because Zemo, hop, skipped, and jumped over to Sokovia to go pay respects, and essentially, in my mind, kind of contemplate his next move. And it's in that scene that we find out that he decides he's not killing Bucky, which I thought was interesting.
Right, how he outright said that.
Right, because to me, it's like he's low-key acknowledging the fact that like there's a respect there. You know what I'm saying? Like it's almost like he kind of admires to a degree that Bucky's able to get the job done, like by any means necessary, basically. Right. And he's trying to kind of trying to preach that to him. Yeah. And Bucky in his mind, and this is why I thought it was so pivotal, was Bucky in his mind has already kind of let go of that mentality. Like he'll still do what he has to do, I think, deep down, but I think he just basically was like, nah, that ain't me no more.
Right, pretty much.
And he turns my man back over to the Dora Milaje so that they can take him back to the raft, which immediately lets me know Thunderbolts.
Most definitely. Put him right back in place.
Yeah, man.
Can't let that slide. Most definitely.
No
but I'm
doubt.
glad that at least, because they was talking about murking him, period. So however that went, they decided to put him back in the raft, period, on Dora Milaje. And
exactly.
So yeah, I don't know. I got the same vibes from Zemo. Yeah, that there's respect there. But he's still, of course, he's arrogant. and he has high confidence in his ability to do things. So that kind of makes me wonder, with him saying he hasn't decided to kill Bucky or he decided not to. It's like, did he have something in mind that he thought would actually work to take him down, or what? But they played that scene up really well, and I look forward to seeing him, especially at Thunderbolts. Thunderbolts is totally coming. I look forward to seeing him in that for sure.
Yeah, it's gonna be crazy, man. I'm really interested to see how that all unfolds. Although we did get a little hint of that, which we'll talk about in a minute too, in terms of how they might introduce that with a certain new character that popped up. Right. But yeah, so that was the thing, is like, how did that Bucky scene hit you? Did you like really look at that and say, damn, they really, pushing that home, or was it just kind of like okay, I see where they're going with this?
Are you talking about the one with him and Zemo still?
Yeah,
That scene didn't really strike me too much, other than the fact that you got to see him kind of complete his arc in a way. Like, he's not questioning himself no more. It's not something that he's doing for someone else at that point. It's something he decided to do on his own. So, you kind of get to see him move on, and like you said, be able to at least be noble, that in the fact that even though he did break him out and he's wanting to do things to serve his means, he was still willing to put it right back and fix what he had to do. Maybe if he could have went through conventional means, like if he was working with General Ross, that might have been something he could have just walked up and did, but he had no clearance on that. But that's probably what they're probably going to use as inspiration for Thunderbolts. You know what I'm saying? He might be like, yeah, you broke in here, or you came in here and you helped Zemo escape, but that gave me an idea. You know what I'm saying? And maybe you could be at the helm of this idea. So it would be kind of cool if maybe episode 6 touched on that a little bit more for that scene. But I just as far before or after that, the only thing I could think of that kind of struck me was the fact that they was like, yeah, don't be coming around Wakanda for a little bit.
Yeah.
But they were still willing to do stuff for him, which it really wasn't for him, even though it was, it was for Sam.
Right.
They still took on board to hook up Sam. Was pretty dope on all that. So
that's the thing, man. It's like, and that's one of the things that I really kind of caught into with that, is like, my man really got like, they really kind of had, he got a little family over there in Wakanda, man. Like, they really looked out. They really looked out for him, like, obviously. But it's just, it's very interesting to see, and it makes me wonder kind of where that dynamic will go in the future, because it just really seems like that'll be Bucky can be a through line, I think, as we move forward, and they do like the Wakanda series that they're talking about doing, and we're talking about the Black Panther series, and who might be the new T'Challa if they do that, or how they're going to handle T'Challa. And it's like, Bucky is I think would be a great anchor for all of that. You know what I'm saying? Especially depending on how they play with T'Challa.
Right. Yeah, I would say, if not an anchor, a good tether. He would be a good through point. Like a liaison. I think that's kind of what they tried to do with that the other agent dude that was in Black Panther, the secret agent guy. I feel like they kind of used him for that. Yeah, so now they can use Bucky for that instead.
Right, exactly. So that'll be dope. But then we switch over to the homie Sam, and my man is strolling back through B-More, shield in hand. And we knew automatically where he was going.
Yes, sir. And then that flash again. I felt like that little scene was to serve for Elijah Bradley, because otherwise you would just have him come straight, knock on the door, blah 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 blah. But he's walking up the street with that in his head, right past Elijah Bradley, who they tried to play off as if he has a shot, but he didn't hit that.
No,
he didn't hit that.
No.
But anyway, maybe he needs some of that serum.
Seriously, right?
Yeah, I felt like that was a good little cameo to show again that even from his last visit, he had respect. Because I'm pretty sure they saw what happened outside. As soon as he walks out, cops pull up, all that stuff, and then they don't even take him to jail. They take old dude to jail. They take Bucky down. So they probably recognize and realize at that same moment that at least, you know, on him, he's got the same struggle.
Right.
He's looked at the same regardless. So, yeah, you know, okay, you can go. I'll let you pass. You know, that was a good little callback though to Elijah Bradley, because I was wondering if we was ever going to see him again, other than that first time behind the screen. At least this time you get a better look at him, and I say he fits the part, most def.
Oh,
so
yeah.
When they transition him into being a Patriot, I think he'll do good.
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, I think so, and I think they did, like you said, a really good job of kind of making sure to remind like the viewers that he exists, like he's there, and he's like a person in that universe, and not just kind of like a standby or somebody like that. I thought that was really cool how they handled that. But my man gets to Isaiah, and I guess he's, you know, trying to understand the why, you know, wants to know his story, wants to know what happened. And I don't know about you, man, but watching that, I ain't really know how to feel initially, because it was a powerful scene, but it was like one of those things for me personally where it's like it hit you in a way, and you like, it's not even normally. So I'll say it like this. Normally, when you get those kind of scenes in movies, you get triggered slightly. You know what I'm saying? Just not by the fact that it happened, but it's like we all have that.
They're going there. They doing this. Oh,
right.
Okay.
Right.
Type deal. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And it's just like, okay. But then you start, and in the good scenes or in the good movies, it actually invokes an emotion. Like you legit get mad. You know what I'm saying? Right. And you know, like a Rosewood or a Mississippi Burning. Like when you see or you hear depictions, it's like, that's when it's like, you like, oh, this is a little too real. Like I ain't supposed to be feeling like this about no movie.
Not no movie, right.
Right,
yeah.
Exactly. And this gave me that same feeling, but in a way where it was so intelligently put together, because it wasn't so much, for me personally, Isaiah Bradley I was focusing on, because it's kind of like, you know, that story. Like if you know the comics and you know the story of Isaiah Bradley, you kind of know where that's going anyway. But what struck me in that scene was the kind of watching Sam process and looking at Sam with total focus and intent on Isaiah, and really just digesting what he's saying and understanding, I think, in that moment, what he had to do and why he had to do it.
Right.
And so for me, it was crazy, because it's like, man, they really did. And this is the point that I'm getting to. When I found out that Malcom Spellman was doing this show, the one thing that I was worried about was if the social commentary in this show was going to be run of the mill and be the same kind of the way that we've seen it depicted on screen before, which wouldn't have been bad. You know what I'm saying? As long as it's good writing, and as long as, you know, the point gets across and you don't sacrifice the story for the sake of your message, then we good. But what this show and what Malcolm's done with this dude is just like, he hit those notes, but he hit them perfectly, in my opinion, within the pace and the vibe of the plot itself. Because in that scene, you've got, on the one hand, Isaiah kind of giving his story, and he talks about, you know, what happens when he comes back, and them separating him from his wife, and not even letting the man get the letters that his wife was sending to him. You know what I'm saying? Right. And all of the while, he's sitting in jail. They're experimenting on him, you know, trying to figure out what it is about his DNA that allowed the serum to not mess him up like it did everybody else. And then you have Sam on the other side of that, and he's just receiving that story and processing that information, and he's literally listening to another black man tell him that no self-respecting black man would want to carry or represent that shield. And yet he walks away from that, and you still know that what Sam is doing is going to be right. And that's the thing that I think might be missed in that scene, is the transition of thought from Sam's perspective. because
Right.
it wasn't about understanding Isaiah Bradley's point of view in that.
Right.
And that's the thing that this is where I want to give props to Malcolm, because
Talk about stealing thunder. That's what I was gonna go with.
I'm telling you, man, we be on it. But that's the thing though, right?
Yeah.
Like
No, yeah.
speak on it, because that right there was the part.
That's what I was thinking. That's what I got out of that scene. Most definitely was seeing the transition and seeing how over the past, still 70 years or so,
Mm-hmm.
how they treated him back in those days compared to the leaps and bounds of, you can honestly say, that we've made in society.
Yes.
Yeah, we're still going through the same kind of issues, but they're the same issues being handled. It's like, and in the daily complaint is, it's like less and less. It's like, okay, now that we're really focusing on it, you do a little less of it. That's not what we're asking for.
Right.
And it's taken this long for us to even get to a point to where that little bit less is getting closer to none. You know what I'm saying? So seeing the transition on how they treated him and how his mind is for his time period versus where we are now, to know that if he honestly embraces Isaiah's idea, that will only be one of those situations to where it's like, we have a chance to progress, but you're not actually.
Right.
No one's willing to take up that mantle to make that difference. You know what I'm saying? You can't say it won't make a difference unless you try. And that's kind of what I see he was left with, even still walking away from that conversation. It was like, of course, yes, that was very horrible what they did to him over time. But it's like, in the world that he grew up in the world that he's trying to help mold, there's no room for that. So that part of it, at least someone can stand up and fight for that when they have the shield and that symbol with them, instead of them just being looked at as a normal man. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
It gives him a better chance to help shape the world like he said he wanted to do, from that standpoint. So I thought he did a good job. Malcolm did a good job handling that.
Oh yeah, without question. And it even goes, like, for me, because I went back and watched it again, and it even goes deeper for me, because you go back to the first time that they actually go meet Isaiah, right? And he has the exchange with the young cat about, he's like, no, I'm not Black Falcon, I'm just Falcon. Are you Black Kid?
Right.
So you think about that and what the mentality of that kid was, you know what I'm saying? And then you fast forward to now, and this is the thing. When I say Sam, it was more about what Sam came to the realization of in that moment. Sam realized, I think, in that moment, that he was hearing the point of view of a man who was deeply impacted by racism and that still harbored that, a lot of anger, and very rightfully so. Like, don't get it twisted. Like, he had every bit to be salty and still carry that hate.
Yep.
But the thing about it is, and this is the thing that really I think we miss when it comes to having these discussions of racism and classism and all of that. It's taught. That shit is taught. And as children, you grow up basically taking on or understanding perception from what you're told as a youngster. You know what I'm saying? It's like you grow up and you see things and you observe, and that builds your frame of reference. So for like the little kid that he ran into, him calling him Black Falcon was a product of like the kid understanding, at least at that point, that differentiation is necessary. And from his frame of reference and from his understanding. And what Sam realized in talking to Isaiah is, unless he does something to break that cycle, to introduce a new idea, you are basically perpetuating the same mentality and basically inviting the same level of behavior. Because how do you fight a stereotype, or how do you fight prejudice if you don't evolve beyond it?
Right.
And that was
go with it.
Exactly. And so even though Sam had to listen to Isaiah saying no self-respecting Black man would take that shield, he realizes it's on him to change that perspective and to change that. Because how are Black children going to be able to understand that color has no real
No boundaries.
boundary,
No
or
boundaries in
there
that.
it does not restrict you from anything,
Right.
or doing or accomplishing anything unless you allow it to.
Right.
And that is the sad reality, especially when you talk about, you know, that type of trauma and what it's been and what it's meant to black men is, and we see this, I know you see it. That trauma is still there in 2021 for somebody like even, you know, my father. And when you listen to old heads,
my
like
dad always,
it's there.
Talking to my dad about that earlier today, actually.
You know,
in
exactly.
ways. Yeah. It's not direct, you know, and it's just how it is, period, for, you know, for us, for black people and other people on the minorities who are treated in their own way.
Right.
You know, it's just certain things that you have to fall back on because unfortunately, you know, it's at least a thought. It might not be a thought of everybody.
Right.
But even people that you're not, and that's the sad part, it's even people that you're not looking at are the ones that you have to worry about. Almost just as much as those who might be willing to smile in your face. Because you never know what somebody's going to wind up or trying to do because of their level of understanding of life.
And
so, let me touch on this real fast.
Yeah, go ahead.
We go on. I see the chat going a little crazy because, not crazy, but Felicity said something about she thinks Sam's the worst written character on the show. She said no problems with the acting, but she feels like he's extremely naive for a black man who's been trained as a killer in the military, and he's not a trained killer. He's actually a counselor. Even though he was in the military, he was Air Force.
Pararescue.
Pararescue, right? But he falls more on his training to be, I guess, a psychiatrist or therapist in a way. That's what, you know, kind of what pararescue does. Than he does on his ability to fight. So I mean, he's not like someone who goes out there and is like, I'm trained to just kill you or whatever. He'll actually he's somebody that they would probably send in as a negotiator, but know that he could handle himself if things went sour type dude. His first instinct is not to take a life. So it's not that he's really being naive. He's more or less just that pure soul kind of character, really. He knows of all the dangers that a naive person wouldn't know. It's just that he has the ability to be able to put himself in a situation and maybe appear naive just to be able to get you to talk. It's actually more of a tool for him than it is something that is used to disarm him. You thinking that he looks or is in that position is what makes you feel like you're in control, and people who are in control divulge way more information than somebody who doesn't feel like they have the upper hand. And that's kind of what they use with the whole villain aspect, where they're always divulging what their plan is. It's because their hubris makes them feel like they have control. It doesn't matter what I tell you, this is what's going to happen type deal. So that's, like I said, it's not really they show him as naive. They show him as, I'm just going to let that ride because that's something that's not important to me because I know the values of the things that I value. And I think they wrote that actually really well for his character, especially to show that he is the type of person that you would want to see as Captain America. Right. I really wouldn't want to see somebody who is abrasive in nature, and that's kind of why they did the parallel with John Walker. John Walker, he was a good guy, and he has a lot of great skills, but he's a very abrasive person. His first motive is to actually take you out. Then it would be, and then be like, I had to do it. Then it would be to be like, you know, I have to bring this man to justice. That wasn't his thought at first. He should have thought to bring to justice, not take a life. Right. So, yeah, like I said, I think they did a good job at he brought a personal cell phone on a mission. Yeah, he's naive and trying to be, he's not covert. He's not undercover ops. Again, that again plays to his character. He doesn't know about doing stuff like that on a daily basis. He's willing to play the part, but he's not the person that he would spearhead that. You know what I'm saying? So, again, I think they wrote him just fine for this story. Everything that happened with him is on the line. And
I'll expect, I want to touch on that a little bit too, because I think that statement of Sam being him being written as naive, I think that's a spot on statement, not because it's correct, but I think that speaks exactly to what Sam is trying to fight against. and it's the two sides of the coin. And we saw this was kind of spelled out a little bit more obvious in Black Panther when you had Killmonger and you had T'Challa. And they in that movie, Killmonger was the by any means necessary, you know, I'm coming in cutthroat. Anybody that's wronged me in the past, I'm going to take my vengeance and I'm exerting dominance because that's who I am. That's who we as a people need to be. That was his mentality. And T'Challa was like, no, that's not the way that we handle things. That's not the way we're going to do. We're going to get down in Wakanda. And what I'm seeing in Sam is that exact same temperament and that exact same level of understanding. Because the thing about it is, it's not about being naive, in my opinion. It's about understanding the entire perspective and looking at it not just from your point of view, but trying to see someone else's point of view and trying to empathize in a way where you are actually trying to get to the real solution as opposed to your own kind of selfish in a way conclusion. Like if I'm coming into a problem and all I'm worried about is me, then at that point, like I'm basically just worried about me. I don't give a damn about what everybody else is saying, and I'm gonna handle business the way that I want to handle business. But when you take that step back and you realize that it's more than that and that there's more going on with it, then that's when you make that I think evolution. And that's what Sam has done in this series, because at the beginning of the show, again, he wanted nothing to do with the Shield. And they don't really touch on this in the show into leaning into it.
I think Zemo does call him a touch naive, but in the end, Zemo recognizes it as being stubborn. It's not that he's really naive.
That part.
He just really doesn't want to. He just doesn't want to accept the fact that some people just are inherently bad, and sometimes they need to be. From Zemo's standpoint, they just need to be taken out. They need to be taken care of. And they're just a bad egg. And Sam believes, and Bucky's a testament to that. No matter how bad a person can be, they always have the choice to turn that around at any given point, even if you look at it as it's too late. So it's not really him being naive.
Right.
It's just he just has a complete belief in his faith of how he perceives people can be.
Right. And that's the key right there. Because again, going back to the Isaiah Bradley conversation. If you take that conversation at face value, and if you just process that based off the words that you hear Isaiah Bradley say, you walk away from that going, oh, there's no way that he can take that shield. But when you look beyond that, you have to understand he's seeing or he's looking at that way beyond what is going on. And to Coachella Coastal, I see the question he asked, what do we think of the reaction to the blood on the shield? I think that was really poignant because to Sam, that shield is not a representation of what America is. To Sam, that shield is a representation of what America should be. Because when you think about it, that shield was Cap. Was Steve Rogers. It represented Steve Rogers. It was a symbol for Steve Rogers as Captain America. And Steve Rogers was not I'm just call it like it is. Steve Rogers wasn't your, run-of-the-mill average white guy. Steve was in a different perspective because he did have a little bit of naivete to his personality, but that was from him being in ICE for 70 years. And not understanding and then when he came to the understanding that the world was different, he refused to just succumb to that reality. And that's the difference. Right. And that naivety that you speak to is really a mark of their character, because all of us at some point in time feel like, oh, this is worthless. Like there's no point. Like I'm ice skating uphill. You know what I'm saying? But somebody like a Sam or a Steve is going to look at that and go, you know what? I don't care if 100 times I've done this and I got the same result. That 101st one might be the one that changes it. And that's that level of perseverance, that level of, if you want to call it naivete, cool. But that is what makes those type of characters because they don't take no for an answer in any situation, and they try to find an amicable solution in any scenario. And that's what it means to Sam, and that's what it meant to Steve to rep that shield. And I looked at Sam's reaction in that conversation, and I saw him kind of digesting the information he was getting from Isaiah, but also thinking about what and how selfish his own decision was, and realizing, you know what, I'm capable of doing both, because that was part of it as well, is, you know, him wanting to help his family with the boat situation and wanting to put his family above, you know, what he kind of looked at as the government agenda, so to speak, with him taking the shield. And then in this episode, what did we see? Like right after that conversation, he goes back home and he's helping his family, but he's also got the shield, and we see him start training with that, because he, at that point, he understands and he says, you know what, this is who I am supposed to be. I am supposed to be Sam Wilson, Captain America. And Sam Wilson, Captain America, though I still carry the same ideals as Steve Rogers, I've got my own priorities. I've got my own things I've got to take care of, and I've got to honor that and this obligation.
Struggle to handle. In other words, his struggle, his fight is very different. No matter how he likes it, if he takes on that mantle, this is a different set of stereotypes and stuff that he'll have to debunk, and it kind of almost, if you, in my opinion, it just makes it a little more difficult.
Yeah, for sure.
Because it's not like you just have to only be an upstanding citizen.
Mm-hmm.
You know, now you got to be an upstanding citizen that you know is gonna, people are gonna say certain things and do certain things towards you.
That part.
Just because it's not even warranted. It's just because.
That's it. Exactly. And then let me ask you this, homie. What did you think about when Bucky showed up in Louisiana and was helping? How did Bucky being into the sister hit you?
I don't know. Kind of sudden, to be honest. Like, I mean, of course, we kind of saw it already from the previews and stuff like that, but actually seeing how they got there, was like, okay. But at the same time, you know, he did spend some time in Wakanda, so
that's the thing. So totally didn't. It wasn't nothing on it like for me going, oh, really? That's where we're going. It was just my thing. My thing about that whole thing was like, that chemistry don't work. Like not like that. Just that. But that's not
out the blue.
Like, I would have rather it been one of the Dora Milaje or somebody like that. Like, that makes sense.
Exactly.
But, like, Bucky being into that woman? No,
like a story element.
Yes, exactly. That like just felt bingo. That is part of that 0.5 that I like, part of the 0.5 was that. Yeah. Because I was like, nah, man, Bucky. Yeah, it's like, nah, Disney, stop it. Exactly.
Yeah.
That part was just kind of like, yeah, no, man. And here's and the other part of the 0.5 for me is, and we kind of getting right into that point of the show, and this might be a little bit of a hot take, but I didn't really like the training montage. I thought it was cool, but I thought it was predictable. Okay. Like that was.
I was going to say it's television,
right? No, absolutely, absolutely.
When I watched Feige and I watched him do interviews answering damn near the same question from like 10 different people. Literally, the interview's on 10 minutes, and if you notice, Feige's sitting in the same spot. But of course, the different people rotate. Right. And like at least 3 of those interviews when he was asked about the same kinds of questions, I got to notice how that man navigates. And when he said that these are television, because somebody asked him, will there ever be a Disney Plus show that drops that's bingeable? Will they ever drop all episodes at once? And he was like, nah, they're going to be between that 6 to 8 to 10 hour range, and it's weekly. It's television. So when you look at these shows, seeing a montage of my man Sam to spend the time, if you think about it, story-wise, because after he's done with his montage, all of a sudden now they got information that girls in New York, blah, 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 blah. It's just to pass the time in a TV show. It's really all I saw in that. But at the same time, to their credit, I don't know how. Okay, so we're already complaining about the fact that we didn't see my man John Walker take the serum. How many people would have been like, oh, but you didn't even get to see Sam practice with the shield, how he gets so good with it, blah, 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 blah. You know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure it, Vito.
No, please don't do that. Please don't do that.
Get there. You know what I mean.
I already know. And I was trying to hold that to the last 2.5 minutes of this stream.
We will touch back on that later.
Oh, I swear we are.
Somebody's out there. So yeah, the montage, I wasn't into it or out of it, but it does kind of give you a different light on Sam's ability too. Like, to be completely honest, I didn't know he could do all those types of flips and stuff like that.
Yeah,
I was always used to seeing him with his wings on and doing all that types of stuff. So now that you know that he's at least acrobatic without all of that stuff,
right?
It does kind of make you believe that when you see him later, that's like, okay, he's not just a good person. He's got skills too.
Right.
So all right, I can allow it because Cap got skills too.
No doubt. And again, I totally understand the necessity of the scene and what they were trying to do. But man, Hollywood, listen to me, please.
Right.
Can we find a different way to do this, please? Like, I get, because the whole thing is the formula, bro. It's not even the montage. It's like every montage starts with them rolling in the music. And it's always this upbeat, like I'm about to, like, it's weird, and it's so, it's so canned.
Good that I messed up for 15 clips,
right?
And all of a sudden, I got it, and then you're like, how much time passed? Was it a day? Did he do this all week?
I'm saying, like,
a few days.
Exactly. But it just drives me. It drives me crazy, bro. Like when I saw it, and the thing about it is, it's effective because I still was like, yeah, that's what's up, my man, getting ready. But then I'm like, another montage. Okay, I can handle this. I can handle it.
Yeah,
but that's
early 2000s montage, man.
Right, exactly. But that's the thing, man. That those were the only two like real things that I felt like got to me in that episode was the montage. Like,
what did you think about him and Bucky together? Like their little coming to friendship.
That I was just going to touch on that too, because that was the next thing that I think hit me probably second most impactful to the Sam and Isaiah scene was Bucky kind of admit like their conversation and him saying he understood. And this is again another thing that they really did a beautiful job of laying out across these first 5 episodes. Because of course when Bucky first shows up, the first question he asks is, why did you give up the shield? And it's like that's all he's worried about because again, and he reveals to us when they're talking to the counselor or the therapist that his, Sam taking the shield is kind of a confirmation for Bucky that Steve was right about him also. So it's kind of tied to him in that way. And so throughout the episode, you kind of see you see Bucky processing information. Like you really see him kind of focusing in on Sam in those scenes where they're together and observing and watching Sam and trying to evaluate Sam to see if Cap was right. And ultimately, he gets to a point where he realizes and he understands that there's a level of Sam taking that shield that Bucky nor Steve will ever understand. And that's the thing that hit the most with that was the fact that you see and you realize in that moment that Bucky understands because it was something that you can't tell Bucky. Sam could never explain it to Bucky in a way that Bucky would get it. Bucky had to experience it. He had to see Sam. He had to understand and hear Isaiah's, background.
Isaiah's words.
And he had to hear that.
His truth.
He had to exactly his truth. That's the word I was looking for.
Yeah.
He had to hear Isaiah's truth. He had to understand, and they didn't show it on screen, but I'm sure when Bucky got back, he explained to when Sam got back, he explained to Bucky the conversation that he had with Isaiah. Probably during that montage that we was watching.
Right. Missed that part.
But the point is, Bucky now has a level of understanding that it is very hard to get via just conversation. And he looks at Sam and says, I didn't get it, but I understand. And at the same time, though, he doesn't back off the fact that Sam should have the shield. And that's the thing that really hits home for me, is because it's like, not only did Bucky find a level of empathy, but it also solidified for him that Steve was right about Sam, and that Sam is the dude to carry that shield, because he is dealing with shit on a level that even Steve didn't. And Steve was a dude that came out of being frozen for 70 years and had to readjust to society and had to catch up as a whole. Whereas, and Sam, that's an incredible thing to have to do and to be able to function. Can you imagine being asleep for 70 years? You wake up and everybody that you know and love is gone. And you basically are in your prime. All the relationships that you had, those people are either all near or at the end of their life. Imagine, just think about that for a second and what that would take.
Just go back to Winter Soldier. When my man came about the ice and finally got to get reunited with
Peggy.
With Peggy.
Mm-hmm. Think about that.
Yeah.
And how heavy that is. And then juxtapose that to what Sam has dealt with, and what not just Sam, but Black Americans have dealt with over that past 70 years. And you realize at that point that Bucky's like, oh, you know what? That's you. That's all you, bro. Right. And that's what makes this so powerful, because it's that level of understanding that is missing on a holistic level, I think, in society. It's like, if we could get more people to be Bucky in that, and have that Bucky that Bucky path. Dude, do you understand how much more we would be able to come to the table and have conversations where we don't have to necessarily exert our feeling of being right? How we'd be able to really understand what people are going through and everything else. That's the thing, man. Empathy is a powerful thing, man. And
definitely.
And it's something that, again, in some instances, you can't explain something to a person for them to see that, or for them to understand it. They gotta go through it. They gotta see it.
Yeah.
So that was the thing that got me with that scene, man. And it to me, this episode had so much of that, where it was resolving plot threads. And again, I'm gonna do this every episode that we talking about this, because these are the only two examples we have, not because I'm trying to dump on it, but that was the difference between WandaVision and this show. Is what this show did with the second to last episode is tied up just about every plot thread that we were wondering what was going to happen with X.
Yep.
So that it sets it's
on purpose.
Right, on purpose, because it's setting up the finale.
Yeah.
It's setting up the finale to focus on what the main plot of the show has been, from the sense of the conflict. The main conflict of the show has been, put it that way. So you get to focus the entire last episode on that and not have to worry about any of this other stuff, because you resolved it all in this episode.
Right.
Exactly. That is the difference. And that is why, for me, this show is infinitely better than WandaVision for my taste. Because in this show, you're not going into the last episode going, I wonder how they're going to answer this. And I wonder what they're going to do with this. And I wonder how this is going to show up. And are we going to get this to make this make sense? You don't need all of that. We have the flag smash, and we're gonna touch on that because yes, that is, another part of that 0.5 for me is the flag smashers and Carly. We definitely finna get into that. But for me, in my taste, and I want to know what you thought about it before we get into the Carly thing. This is what I wanted from WandaVision. And so now we've got that in Falcon and Winter Soldier, and I'm ready for this finale, bro. Like, I'm so ready. But how did you feel about that from the, I guess from the episode as a whole? Do you feel like this show did a better job, or do you feel like it was kind of in a different position because of the actual story it was trying to tell, or how do you feel about it?
You talking about like in comparison to WandaVision?
Yes.
Okay, so I feel like this show had more room to actually tie up some of the things that they created, and that was simply because this is more of like an isolated story compared to what they're trying to do with WandaVision, with the fact that they're trying to make sure it goes into Doctor Strange and has all these other implications and blah 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 blah. Mm-hmm. So I just feel like with some of the things that they tried to push forward as a hype narrative when it comes to WandaVision was very low end payoff, because I feel like a lot of us, especially us sweaties, when it came to the Agatha thing, for that to be like the big MacGuffin of the story was a bit lost. And panty differences and all that stuff, yeah. But still, that compared to what we're getting in this, I feel like, I have to agree that this story is more rounded. Yeah, it is tying up things perfectly, in my opinion, because like I said, Thursday, I was worried that they would do the inverse of what they just did. So now that I know that episode 6, their finale, is actually really going to be a big deal and not have to get so polluted with story tie-ups, or at least not too many of them. There's a couple things, of course, need to get tied up, but I feel like, we're going to at least have a good chunk of the episode go toward what, people like Josh want, and that's some of that action. Yeah. So I think, so far this series has so far not disappointed on any level, to be completely honest. If you look at it, like I said, you got to shift that perspective of looking at these as cinematic TV shows and just look at them as very expensive television shows. Right. And I think with the quality, everything that we've gotten as far as the story goes, there's not one time when I'm looking at that and be like, oh, that doesn't look right as far as visual. Mm-hmm. And there's not been one time where they threw something in that kept me at, oh, they're going there. Yeah. It's like, oh, they're going there. And then they're like, yeah, but not in the way that you think. Exactly. And at least I can rock with that. I don't like when I'm completely validated. I'm always the type of person, if you can prove me wrong, man, I'll shake your hand and high five you, like, for real. Because there's very, very few things and people who can do that. Yeah. So, so far, I am very satisfied with what we've gotten so far. And I definitely look forward to see how they wrap this up. So we can, and hopefully, I'm looking to see how they wrap it up so we can hopefully look forward to the next IP, which we already know is Loki. Supposed to be pretty good, but still, like, nobody's gonna be looking forward to Loki if they don't wrap this up right. Right. I'm gonna say that right now. Everybody's gonna be worried about Loki if they don't wrap this up right.
Facts. So, and so speaking of the wrap up, so we get to the end of the episode, basically around the end of the episode, and throughout, you've had the flag smasher plot, and so they end up getting up with Batroc through Sharon. Nonetheless, we find out. So one of the questions we'll have to get answered in the last episode is kind of what side is she on? But that's all tied, I think, into where we going with this flag smasher plot. Now, let me say this. The one knock when I come back and look at this show, I will never understand why they cast old girl to play Carly in this show. I just can't. That
I have an opinion, but
that plot, and I totally get that they had to make changes because of the pandy and everything else. But I think it was such a bad decision to have her as the leader of the flag smashers. Not because she's a female, not because she's black, nothing like that. But you cannot believe her. I'm sorry. Like I never, every time she shows up on screen, I feel like she's, just a misguided kid. And I'm like, how does this kid have all of this power? Like, why is nobody like, wait a minute. Like, this ain't working. This just ain't working for me. And I know some people are like, she's the diversity hire. I'm like, nah, man, the show's already diverse. You didn't have to, that wasn't necessary. That wasn't necessary. Like, and maybe if you choose another, so I'll give you an example of a kid or hiring a adolescent or whatever. What's the little cat's name? Is it number 5? Is it 5 in Umbrella Academy? The one who's actually old, but but he's young. Yeah. Right. Yeah. That works because you understand, and he plays that role from a perspective where you feel like he is very freaking mature. Another example, Invincible and Monster Girl. Again, that you don't go, nah, it's like you understand because again, the mentality and the dialogue and everything else, you understand that you're talking about somebody who's mature beyond like their years. And in those two examples, they are literally mature beyond their years because they were older. Totally get that. With Carly though, like she just need to be put in timeout, bro. Every time I see her, I'm just like, go sit in the corner somewhere.
That's
like
naive.
You just naive. Exactly. It's like you don't even. How is it that you have this much power and this much control and of these people, and you are like clueless? Like you come off clueless and just completely naive and not even jaded, just naive. Like you just don't understand like how the world works. But it's like you're supposed to be the leader of this organization, and y'all are setting up for this huge attack and everything else. And it's just like I don't understand. I've been waiting for them to reveal that she's basically a puppet for somebody else, something, because it's just not work. That one thing is not working for me. And
yeah, I mean, because they've never explained like how she even got the vials. What's the importance besides the fact, to me, like the Flag Smasher story really exists just to give John Walker his powers. Like that's the only thing that they've actually accomplished out of all the other stuff. I mean, of course, the anarchy and stuff like that, but I mean, to me, that's like an element. Like you should already have expected that as a viewer. So you're not really gonna have a gripe with the fact that they're doing the anarchy stuff,
right?
But it's like, okay, but how did they even get to this point? Did she how did she even come across the power broker? Did she always have this plan? Like there's no way that before she had powers she was able to just walk in and take it,
right?
So it's like, why are we supposed to, again, I have to agree, it's like, why are we supposed to care about this character and her struggle when the only struggle we honestly see is trying to stand for that we have seen kind of handled in other IP is the whole GRC thing.
Right.
It's like the whole blip stuff. Like, okay, we're starting to see people who are affected by the blip both ways, that they were here and when people back. And it's like, was it even better that the Avengers, it kind of makes you beg that question. It's like, should the Avengers have just left things alone? Did they do it for their own selfishness because they lost people, instead of just dealing with the loss, blah, blah, blah. Of course, it wasn't right because of how it happened, and you had to unturn that. But still, other than that, it's like, and that's not even something for me to feel like should take course over 320 minutes of a TV show. It should mean something a little bit more to me than just being like, okay, so she had somebody that she lost. And I understand, okay, so they had to rewrite it because of this whole pandy virus thing that they had written down in there. It was a little too on the nose. All right, I got that. But, like, you couldn't have easily found a different way to skew it and make me go about, go somewhere else with that, just like you're telling Green Bear right now. It's like,
I'm telling you, like Green Bear, ain't nobody trying to hear what you're talking about my debate 8 choices. Shit.
But
I'm gonna get it right one of these days. I'm gonna get that 1-8. Look, until you finna make me go on a tangent.
You gotta do what we say here, Al. You gotta take yourself out of your shoes and look at what the
Yes,
people
I
are.
am. Let me be more Sam about this situation.
Yeah, you gotta be more Sam about it. But yeah, I don't know. They haven't played too much up enough for me yet for it to like she has way too much power. Like outside of the physical power she has, it's like all of a sudden now they're breaking in to what looks like a branch of the United Nations with the senators, and they're able to like completely shut that down. Like, okay, you got help from the girl Sharon, but like, that kind of begs the question on what the hell Sharon got going on with this? Like,
Exactly.
What is she doing? What is your angle to try to make this situation worse when you just told Sam that you was actually trying to make it better? Are you just playing sides to play sides for your own agenda? I don't know, but I still don't think she's a power broker because I see people going. I know people are gonna go there, but yeah, it doesn't make sense with what they're trying to do with the Flag Smashers, other than them just serving an element. They're like the Flag Smashers, like even Carly being the leader, they completely changed that. Like not just gender swap, but like the motive behind that character even starting the Flag Smashers in the first place.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's supposed to be in a single person, not a whole group. So I don't know where they're going with that.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how they tie that up at the end. That's the one thing. It's like, okay, either there's gonna be a some kind of a revelation at the end of this 6th episode or in this 6th episode that's gonna make all of that make sense, or we'll just find out that a lot of that was just kind of scrapped because of the pandy, and you know the main focus of they decided to shift the focus to the evolution of Sam and Bucky, which again, not to point back at WandaVision, but that works in this series for me because of the fact that the mantle of Cap is a relevant thing for me. So again, going back, because I know Fanjex are going to point it out to me again. I was the person that said I don't want to watch character development be the main focus of MCU content.
You totally
I did say this. Falcon made me change my mind because they found a relevant way to introduce character development in a way that matters, because it matters who the next Captain America is going to be. So damn the rest of the plot. If I'm focused on that and I've got to watch Sam's journey to accepting his role as the new Cap, I'm all for that, because that matters to me in the sense of the plot, not because I can identify with what he's going through or anything like that. Just from the plot standpoint, I care about Cap and the shield and who represents that shield in the MCU. So I want to see that. Didn't give a damn about Wanda and what she was going through with them kids. Just me. But that's the thing, is at the end of this episode, man, or at the end of this season, I just want to make sure that that they don't totally derail it at the end. And I don't. I think that the way that they handled this episode was kind of a way for them to make sure that even if the finale isn't as explosive as we expect, we've already got the resolutions we need, except for one. And I think it's time that we get into that one before we hit conversation and libation, which is the Wakandan box scandal. Yeah.
Well, there's a couple things that I feel like they can still cover, but yeah, that Wakandan box was one thing. But for me, before we get into that, how did you feel about the cameo? Because I know it was like really hyped up that it's supposed to be something kind of big. I feel personally that news kind of got jumbled and misconstrued like gang signs, because I don't really think that the writer was trying to tell everybody that the cameo would be a tearjerker. That was the kind of thing that was running through the week. I really think I went back and looked at it, and he was pretty much just saying this next episode was going to be the tearjerker period. And I'm pretty sure everybody knew it was because of the Isaiah Bradley conversation.
Yes.
And then the cameo, I don't know. It was kind of cool that it was, your girl Elaine from Seinfeld and all that. But I mean, other than that, the only thing that I got out of that has any kind of implication was the fact that she's rocking with Hydra in some way. They kind of I think they're going to kind of pull Viper and Madam Hydra together in this character here, because of the fact that they changed the color of her hair streak. It's supposed to be gray, but it's like purple.
Right.
And if you look at the themes for both of them, like they both wear green, because it's Hydra. But Viper's hair kind of has like a tint of purple to it. So seeing the purple streak where it was once white, and having the Val character who's also known as Madam Hydra, I feel like that has implications for like maybe secret invasion. Maybe. Even though that's Skrulls, but what did you get out of that? Did you get anything for the John Walker character at all?
Let me say it this way. Absolutely nothing.
Right.
Here, look, if there's one thing that happened for sure with WandaVision has killed any and all hype for just random cameos in MCU content going forward. They may have a big payoff, they may not, but I tell you what I will not be doing, and that is putting any stock in importance of characters. Knowing, and I know, like, again, she's definitely going to play a role going forward, but for me, I'm like, okay, well then let me know what she's going to do, and then we'll see what happens. Because I'm like, it could end up being like she's set up and they may not even come back to her. You know what I mean? It's just we don't know. And because we don't know, and because it's such an obscure character, like I'm reserving, judgment until I know how she's going to fit into what's going on in the MCU overall. Now, if there's King James, I am 100% still scared from WandaVision because I'm sorry, when you hit me with a Ralph Bohner, I'm like, nah, bro, you ain't fooled me once. Shame on you. If you fooled me once, can't get fooled again.
Right.
It's not going down, bro.
Oh my goodness.
I'm like, nah. Not happening. I'm good. I'm like, no, I like cameos. That's cool. But unless it's somebody that I specifically know who they are and how significant they are, I ain't going to worry about it, man. That's why I didn't even mention it. And not only that, but it seems so like tacked on, to be honest. Like just for her to come stroll up and she's like, hey, I'm going to need you in a little bit. So just stand by.
Right.
Okay.
Well, because to me, it's like, what that means for me is, I guess this is the sweaty in me, is they're for real trying to set this up for the return of maybe some of the speculatory people were thinking about, like Red Skull, because it's kind of put out there that maybe Red Skull could be the power broker, just because he is technically free from Boromir. Mm-hmm. So it would be nice to see. I'm not saying that he is. So far, the streets ain't said that, but it is a fan want, so it can happen if the right people hear it and they care about it. But anyway, I'm hearing people thinking like they're saying that she has connections to like Leviathan. Well, Leviathan is Hydra.
Yeah,
Leviathan is a branch of Hydra, and he has he's a big antagonist in the Secret Warriors. So her showing up, having any kind of ties with Hydra, period, is to me like, okay, where are they going to try to set this back up? You got Armor Wars, you got Secret Invasion coming up. We already know they're going at least towards Secret Wars. So are these the Easter eggs? Like right now, you're like, nah, bump that. I don't care about it because I'm worried about WandaVision. But in real life, down the road, when they do pay off, of course you'll be in a different mindset.
100%. That's right. Exactly what I just said.
I feel you, right? I feel you. But like for me right now, I'm feeling like, yeah, this is a setup for Hydra for sure in the future, and it just kind of makes me wonder, with all these little side stuff that they're setting for the Earthbound, Earthbound story. Where's that going? Because if we get people like Red Skull coming back, he's a problem. We're talking about getting Doctor Doom. He's a problem. Like, who else are we going to get coming in that is a problem? Like these are some high level villains that, to me, I know we got some good ones in the previous phases, but I feel like those were like watered down.
Yeah.
Way. Like you take Red Skull out of the equation of any of that and not bring him back. I figured he would probably be one of the people that they would of course bring back, and at least and Captain America 2 in some way, 2 or 3. But you throw him away and put him on Boromir, like come on, dude.
Well,
like, Red Skull.
But here's the thing, and this is going back to what we talked about with I think episode 4 and with WandaVision and with this show period, when Josh was on his I want more. We not gonna get more. Like not in the sense of what we think, where they're just gonna blow the MCU universe wide open. Like it's just not gonna happen, man. Like I feel like for us to get, I don't ever think it will. To be honest, I don't think we will ever get to a point where the stories in the MCU are as deep and complex and detailed as what we get in the comics. I don't ever think you'll see like Red Skull come back and have like his own little subplots or whatever with individual like heroes and whatnot. I don't
know. With these Disney Plus shows, there's a lot of stuff that's possible. They don't always have to make a show that's like tailored toward like a Falcon and Winter Soldier or something like that. They could strictly just make a show that like how they do with What If, which I'm excited to see how that's going to come out. Oh yeah,
without question.
Animated. There's a lot of different ways. So I mean, I don't know. I won't say never, but
I will.
Where we are, I know it does not seem like there's a lot of hope for it. I do agree with that.
The reason I say, never for me is coming from not from a writing or Kevin Feige like White Suge standpoint. I think it goes beyond his. It's over even those decisions. I think are even over his head, and I think what we are seeing in and this is something that I got to thinking about over the last maybe week or so. What we may be seeing with the MCU and the lack of any depth, and I don't want to say it like these shows that and the movies aren't deep. That's not what I'm saying. But when you compare it to the comic runs of these stories, they're not as deep. And I think that's I think that's going to be the case for as long as the MCU exists, for a multitude of reasons. Not just because they're not going to go that deep because they would never do that. No, I think it's beyond that, because some of it I think is even a business decision.
Yeah,
so
you don't want the TV shows to outshine your other IPs.
Well, no, I don't even. I mean, movies too, though, bro. Like what I'm saying is, I think the Infinity Saga was the bar. Like that's to let people know this is probably the extent of how crazy. Now, again, when Secret Wars happens, Secret Wars is going to be crazy. But I don't think Secret Wars will have because think about it. Secret Wars started with Time Runs Out, right? And the incursions and all of that. When you look at the Jonathan Hickman run of it, right? I don't think we'll get that kind of a setup for Secret Wars in the MCU. Now, I could be wrong, but I feel like even if we do, all of that's going to be kind of mashed together, and we're going to get a like different plot threads kind of joined together in order to get us to that Secret Wars point even faster. The same way we did with the Infinity Saga and some of the changes they made with certain characters' significance and what their role was in the Infinity Saga. That's going to be the same way they do a lot of these stories, I think. And so from just by nature of that formula, we won't go as deep as I think some of us that are familiar, like the Sweaties and the Swarmies. I just don't think we'll ever get that deep. And that's not a bad thing necessarily. But what I think that does is that helps us to recalibrate expectation so that we're not sitting here going, where the hell is Mephisto at? Or why is the power broker so like bogus? Why is it a group of people and not just one person? And we're all like, that's what I'm saying. But to your point with the villains and them stepping up the villains, that part I definitely think we'll get. And I think that will be the way how these shows are able to focus, because then if you bring back a Red Skull, or if you bring Dr. Doom in, or if you bring in any other villain, like then you have a mechanism for where you can that villain can be the focus of a show, or a specific plot thread that doesn't necessarily have to overshadow or take anything away from the actual movies. Because you could have, you could set up a Dr. Doom and make him like the big bad going forward. But then you could have smaller characters in there or not necessarily smaller characters, but villains that you could bring in just like they did in Phase 1, but not necessarily have to wait until the very end to get their appearance. You know what I'm saying? Like we waited for Thanos with the Infinity Saga. I don't think that's going to be the case with Dr. Doom or any of these other villains that are going to show up. I think we're going to get them, and they're going to be players early on. and it's kind of going to be an ongoing thing because they'll be introduced and we'll just watch different conflicts involving them, which culminate in, let's say, Secret Wars or something like that, or Secret Invasion. Because I think that's where the crazy's gonna get, is when we start talking Secret Invasion. That'll be, I think, when we start really seeing the what. Because I think the big thing for this is gonna be a question of who's really who. That's what I'm waiting for in the MCU now, is that I don't really trust what I've seen because I don't know who was actually who. That's what I'm waiting for.
Right.
And so I think that'll be dope. But as far as this show and the finale and everything that's going on with that, with the Flag Smashers and everything else, and the cameo, yep, I know she'll definitely play a role going forward. But just like for the intents and like that was to be purely set up. And unless they pay that off immediately in this finale, then I'll wait for them to show me who she's going to be later on.
Right. Yeah. No, I hear everything you say, but no, I think I know they set that bar in Infinity Saga, but I feel like they have exponential heights to reach.
Right.
Especially with the fact that they barely scraped the surface on their cosmic level stuff, and that's really what people are waiting for them to get into, is their cosmic level stuff. So to be completely honest, I think that's why Loki, like, we got these two shows. I think that's why everybody's like, Loki. I want Loki because I want to see what's going on with the time variance. I want to see what's going on with the cosmic stuff, the outer space stuff, the ground, Earth grounded stuff. I think people will probably let a lot of that watered down canon stuff go if they're just able to be in outer space and get a wider story out of that. They'd be like, yeah, Sam Bucky, that was cool, blah, blah. Yeah, what's going on with WandaVision? That's great. But yeah, did you see that with Loki? You see how he was able to go see this and they revisited that? No, yeah, I think everybody's waiting for that cosmic level because we kind of already gotten the Mystic and the Earth. We've got nothing but Earth, period.
Pretty much.
When they started. And then, then we got Doctor Strange, and they got to go into a little bit deeper with that. And we got Thor. But Thor, how often was Thor in anywhere in the cosmic space that we hadn't already seen? Like, they visited Asgard like 3 times. Like,
right.
We're going to take something new. We got that Guardian, the Champions world or whatever, but how much did we really even get to explore that? It was like a junk world, mostly. They just want to fight. Well, nobody really cared too much. I think that was just their attempt to give people the Planet Hulk setting that everybody was asking for, if we would ever see that. So that was kind of like a yes on that. But I think they have a lot of places that they can go in all 3 areas, to be completely honest. And there's just so many people that we could get that have, like, even if it's watered down to how MCU waters it down, it still would be dope to get people like Mephisto or Blackheart. I'm really looking for like Blackheart. I'd like for characters like Shumagorath to start showing up. We still haven't gotten the Beta Ray Bill. There's just, Adam Warlock. We still haven't gotten him right, Slow-Mo. There's just there's so many directions that they can go they haven't touched yet. Sentry, Hyperion, like, it's crazy. And even if some of these Easter eggs that didn't get paid off yet, that they might have dropped or had implications of, even if it's something like, we recognize these characters and we're going to be doing that in the future, would be great. Then for them to just try to match the Infinity Saga all over again.
Right.
And this is just their locomotive way of starting. I would kind of be disappointed in the MCU if it was just, if it's how you're expecting it to be. So I'm hoping they prove you wrong. Let me put it that way. In a good way.
No. I totally get you.
And you too. But
I totally get you. But I'm just saying, man, like, even when they get to the cosmic stuff and blow it and they start doing that, I really am, there's something that I'm starting to just to see. And there's a very beginning. I don't want to get into it right now because it's still very, very early and it's all speculatory. And I want to let the homie Josh kind of do his thing and see what he come up with first.
Right.
But
maybe he'll pick up the hype train for all of us.
Yeah, because I feel like there might be some things that we haven't necessarily considered when it comes to us kind of crafting our expectation for what the MCU gives us. And it's again, I don't think they're going anywhere anytime soon. Galactus, boy, I couldn't think of that name when I was sitting there trying to figure out another villain. That's that normie in me coming out. I couldn't.
Yeah, I'm staying away from Galactus on purpose because I think it'll be a bit before we get Galactus.
But yeah, I think to put a cap on it, pun intended. Finale.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
What do you expect out of the series or the season finale for Falcon and Winter Soldier? Do you think that it's going to be action on action and that's pretty much going to be the whole of it? Or do you think it will set up anything that will lead us into something else?
I feel like they're going to drag out the suit for a few more minutes when they start the episode. This is what I feel like. It might not, because so far they've been kind of on the opposite. But anyway, they might drag that out just a little bit longer. Put it in a situation to where, the first time you see the suit is iconic, obviously for us viewers, but like the people, their reaction to it as well. I feel like they're going to go into a little bit more of what John Walker's going through for a moment. They may take some time. When I say drag it out, they may take some time to pay off Bucky and the old man.
Yeah.
Because I feel like they definitely hinted to that in the last episode where he said there's at least one person in that book that needs closure and you're the only person able. That wasn't a direct point to him and the old man. I don't know what is. So I feel like maybe they'll pay that off. If not in the beginning, of course, towards the end. I feel like it'd be more impactful toward the end. But with the lineage and things that they did, they kind of ended it on what? With him seeing those blips and seeing old girls in New York and knowing that she's going to see. They already began the attack. So obviously they'll probably pick up there.
No doubt.
So those fight scenes that we see in the trailer will probably be again toward the beginning, paying all that stuff off, getting all that out of the way, and I feel like there might be a bigger altercation at some point between John Walker and at least Falcon, if not Bucky as well.
Yeah.
And that'll lead to maybe him. Because that was kind of another thing we probably won't touch about too much tonight. Maybe for Thursday, we'll get back into that. But the way that my man John Walker was kind of tossing Bucky around, like he even kind of knocked him out for a moment, knocked his arm out the socket, all types of stuff. So it seems like that serum is a little stronger than whatever they might have given Bucky. So John Walker,
I don't know, man. I don't know.
I mean, kind of. If you really kind of look at it, the way my man tossed Bucky off that shield.
I looked at that like he was fighting with everything he had, and Bucky was just trying to restrain dude. Do you really think that if the Winter Soldier wanted to rip that man apart, he wouldn't have ripped that man apart?
I could see that too, but I'm just saying, looking at the level of which he was able just to do that. I'm not talking about the entire fight, just that one little moment where maybe he did put his all into it. Maybe they haven't shown us Bucky's all just yet.
Bingo.
But maybe they haven't. Maybe that's what the case is. But I'm just saying they did say that because I'm going back to where they're talking about the serum, saying that the way that he made it, he extracted all the best parts out of the original serum and augmented that. That's what I was looking at with his description of it. So, I've seen Cap and Bucky do some stuff, but I've not outright seen them, and I've seen them punch just normal humans and stuff. Like, I haven't seen them be able to do that to a person that's at least on their same level based on, I think that's kind of why it's important they showed us he killed a Flag Smasher, not just with the shield for that kind of reaction, but just to show his level of strength is really kind of different.
My man, did you forget that Cap literally was able to
stop the helicopter?
Not the helicopter, damn the helicopter. He stopped for a minute Thanos with all the damn stones in the gauntlet and was like holding this man back.
Right. So I'm just saying, if that's showing his level of strength with that super serum, I only imagine. But I'm still going back to what my man said. He said, yeah, that super soldier, basically, I'm putting it in a nutshell. I'm sorry, mama. But basically he said, yeah, that serum was the shit, But this is that angel dust.
Yeah, but what you want. I'm gonna have to go back and watch. I'm gonna have to go back and watch that again because what I took from that was that it was a more, I don't want to say watered down, but like that it was not on that level. And I'll have to go back and watch it. But even if it was.
Yeah, I got you.
He ain't touching that. No, you got me. You took me there already. Damn it. Because ain't no way John Walker getting his ass whooped. Period.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. In the end, yeah, but I don't see them doing that separately. Meaning, like, I don't see them handing that all the way to Falcon to go handle by himself. That's going to be a Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Oh yeah, without question.
Battle for sure.
I think what's going to happen is he's going to show up on that.
Shut up, Cavi. Calling me out about it.
Exactly.
I said what I said.
Oh my God.
It is what it is.
Hilarious. But yeah, man, it's gonna be interesting, man, to see how they set it up. But real quick, let's get on this obligatory box conversation really quick.
Yes.
Let me just explain something really quick. In episodic television, there is a thing called a cliffhanger. Cliffhangers exist to make you want to see the next episode. Not just make you want to see, but make you feel you need to see the next episode. Now, granted, we live in a society where we've got spoilers and we got leaks, and if you into that stuff, then you probably already know what's in the box. Right. But if you are one of these people who don't know, then you have to understand that they cannot give you everything right away. And you have to exercise a little bit of patience. And beyond that, if the box is the most important or the biggest gripe that you have about the show, then you really don't have any complaints.
Right.
Because if you really wanted to know what was in the box, all you need to do is go look for the leaks and you'd already know what's in the damn box.
Yeah, but I mean, come on, it's obvious what's in the box.
Of course it is.
And I'm gonna play this off. The whole veto thing is not only knowing what's in the box, but having a gripe at the fact that he opened it and it's left as a cliffhanger.
Who you think I was just talking about?
I already know what's in the box.
Who you think I was just talking about?
I know who you was just talking about, but I don't know. Maybe I feel like you was a little lightheaded on it.
I was trying to be nice.
Yes,
I was going Sam. I was doing my Sam. Okay.
Nah, not on that Nerdvenger. He could take it.
Well, then let me just be real quick with the Nerdvenger family. Then, if we doing that, and this is the same argument we had when we talked about this. The Mandalorian teased that we were going to get a Jedi at the end of the first season. We didn't see the actual Jedi they were referring to until the end of the second damn season.
Right.
Cliffhangers exist to keep you hooked.
Right.
And if you don't understand that, or if you choose to nitpick what cliffhangers you like versus what cliffhangers you don't like, then at that point, I'ma just keep it a buck and say you hating. You just looking for a reason to hate. Period.
I mean, yeah, because if you didn't have a gripe with the fact that you didn't get the Daredevil costume till like what? I don't think you got it in the final episode till like the last minute. And you had to wait a whole year or so before you got to see him in the costume. If you did not complain about that year we had to wait in between Infinity War and Endgame to see how that ended, but you're going to complain at the fact they're going to leave a box for the last episode, you got problems, man.
Problems indeed.
You got problems, man.
Problems indeed. All right. So, again, super hyped for the final episode. Can't wait. But one last thing we must touch on before we get to conversation and libation. And I can't even believe I'm about to talk about this, but
oh man,
what happened last night, man?
I
heard it was I heard it was supposed to be a fight last night.
Oh, that.
That.
But you were talking about something more
I'm about
interesting.
I'm about to give people a really hot ass take. I'm about to get super hot right now. All of y'all that are falling for this Jake Paul nonsense, do yourselves a favor. Stop it. Stop it. If y'all don't see what's going on with this situation, y'all getting played. Straight up. This man he knocked out an NBA player. Props for that. Okay. Cool. And then like, well, he fought an MMA fighter last night. Bro, when the last time that dude fought somebody that mattered? I don't even know this dude. And I followed MMA. I don't even know this dude he fought last night. Don't like holla at me when like he beat somebody that's actually relevant. Like relevant. Because if you're going to line him up and put him in there, first of all, this dude get after the fight and got his ass knocked out. I let the whole world down. No, you didn't, because I guarantee you got a nice fat check sitting in your bank account for taking that dive.
Mm-hmm. That was a hell of a dive too. Like, come on,
like, bro,
we should have put my man on the board and had him dive off the board.
I'm trying to tell you, bro.
It's like any more of a dive, dude.
Let me tell you something.
That's horrible.
It's levels to this thing, man. And it's somebody who has followed boxing and mixed martial arts. That man, Jake Paul, has skill. Put some respect on his name. But the moment they put him in the ring or the octagon or wherever they put him with somebody that actually is a trained professional that is still in their prime, like looking like hungry, and he's just another person and not a meal ticket, that man is going to get murdered, and it will be your fault, public, because y'all falling for the okie doke. So let me tell y'all how this is gonna go. I'm gonna tell y'all. I'm gonna predict this right now. Unless he gets his big Conor McGregor fight next, every fight until he fights Conor or whatever big name he gonna fight, he gonna win. I'm just telling you right now. He is going to win every fight until he gets to that big payday, because they are setting this up so that they can charge $180 for people to watch this fight and then finally see him get his ass beat. So y'all might as well just stop paying attention until they tell you when this fight is gonna be. Find out who's throwing the fight party. Get them the little $10 so y'all can all get in on the pay-per-view. Cause this is so predictable, it don't even make sense. This don't even make sense, bro. Like he ain't Nah. This is a gimmick, and I don't know, man. I'm not falling for it. I'm sorry.
Nah, I don't think anybody other than the dude who took that dive, ain't nobody else falling for it.
Yeah, no.
It's all good.
Yeah, it's not going down. Not going down.
Nobody will remember. Nobody will remember that.
No, and what's so crazy about it is the moment he do get his ass knocked out for real, like the moment he do get knocked out for real, everybody gonna be like, oh, well, we knew this was coming. Well, then why y'all keep paying to watch this man like fight setups? Why are we paying? Right. Like, why are we the fight where he fought Nate Robinson? I didn't even know he was on the card. Like, I didn't even know my man was on the card. I was watching that fight straight up because I wanted to see two of my uncles get into it, and that's literally what I watched. So I knew what I was getting with that. I'm like, oh, who is this Jake Paul? Because I really didn't even know who the dude was, to be honest. Like, to be straight up, I did not know before that fight. And then I'm watching and I'm like, first of all, why is Nate Robinson in this ring? Why? And even by Nate Robinson standards, that man, you can tell Jake Paul training, he's serious about what he's trying to do. But there's a difference. There are levels, and my man, until I see him do something respectable against a respectable opponent, it's not moving needles on my radar, man.
See, I was talking about people like Kavai over here.
See, look.
All that hacking, and it didn't amount to nothing.
Nothing at all.
Yeah, at all.
At all,
nothing
man.
at all.
But you know,
I bet you would have rather watched pirated the next episode of Falcon and Winter Soldier.
That part.
Pirate that bullshit.
So no, that fight wasn't what was popping this weekend. But you know what was popping this weekend, man? And this is the perfect afternoon indeed. But you know what? Perfect transition in the conversation and libation, because the Discord.
Oh yes.
The Discord though. Let me say it one more time. The Discord though. If ever there was a weekend for you to have been a member of the Discord community, boy, this would have been the one right here. Because, man, these Nerdvengers pulled me out of a place that I ain't been in a decade, man. They brought out, they made me flip on them, and it was just not, it was everything.
Oh, so Whitney's trying to say that the Discord is now Vegas. So we're just allowed to say the Discord be popping, like Abby K said, and that's all
we can say about it. Then, that's all we can say.
Yeah, William Warrington. Sorry, man. What we talking about the Discord be popping.
Yeah, Discord be popping. If you're not a member of the Discord, I strongly recommend you reconsider.
Yeah,
because
man,
you
go in there and we're not allowed to talk about Al freestyling when he gets in the mood.
I don't know what happened. I don't know what y'all talking about.
We're not talking about, the occasional karaoke nights. We're not talking about, at the same time when y'all was doing that, we had like a whole conversation going on over at the Doctor Who watch party.
I'm telling you, man.
It was like we had a whole thing.
The whole thing was going, man. And then at the end, we all came together, and it was just magic and off-key singing and the whole nine.
Yep.
Shout out though. I got to give some special shout outs though. And I'll leave it. I will keep it general. Shout out to Krim. Boy, my man. Shout out to Krim. Shout out to Jedi Mike. Shout out to Mas, to Felicity. Who else was in the building with us that night, man? Like, who else did I have?
A lot of heads in there. We had
Whitney,
Raz pop in later.
Raz, Vito.
Whitney.
Man.
I popped in for a little bit. We had Mr. Anderson. We welcomed him back. Like, there was...
The homie, I think it was Griv. He was the homie came through. That was Krim's partner came through, man. It was quite a sight to behold that night.
Right. Krim is Zemo. Like, we're going to find out it really is.
I'm telling you, man.
Show up with the jacket and everything.
But yeah, let's go on and get into the supers, main, so we can.
Yeah, I got a few.
That's what's up.
I'm covering them, but top billing for me, I had Sheev the Wise, $1.99.
Appreciate you, man.
He said, "What's good, man?" Alan Lavis, enjoy the perp. Always, man.
Always, brother.
All day, every day. We had T Love 816. With the $5, thanks. Said I finally caught a live stream with my brothers from my other mothers. Keep it fresh, y'all. He hit us with them purple lightsabers.
Oh man. Yeah, appreciate you, man.
And we got Ayo Chan. Welcome back.
Welcome back.
A Nerdvenger again.
Indeed, you are, sir.
And we had Randy Burnside with the $5.
Thank you, man.
Said,
thank you.
For me, it means that John Walker will be a version of Hydra Cap. Yeah.
Seems that way. Definitely seems that way.
That's what I think is going to happen, man. Going to infiltrate like them Skrulls and find out that he's not a Skrull. He's just a motherfucking traitor. We have the Joker Wild with the $10.
Appreciate that.
And I think episode 6 is going to answer all of these questions about the Flag Smashers, maybe flashbacks, how Sam handles the Flag Smashers threat is important to how his legacy as Captain America begins. It's very spot on and on point. There.
Yes.
We had Jennifer Cook come through with the $5. Thank you. Said, will Julia's cameo make more sense after Black Widow finally premieres? I would like to think so.
So I heard that she's actually in Black Widow.
Right.
I heard that she actually is going to be in Black Widow. So
Right. So I'm wondering if maybe what they did was, and why they kept pushing it off, was because they wanted to try to make Winter Soldier make Black Widow more relevant instead of it being the other way around like it's supposed to. So like some of these questions we're having, like where General Ross, because you didn't get to see him at all,
Right.
and all that types of stuff will probably get answered in Black Widow, and then give Falcon and Winter Soldier more context, and then that'll turn back into the whole formula of what they've been doing in the first place. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. I'm wondering. We'll see.
Definitely.
We got Rogue Soul with the $5. Said Pepper Potts head is what's in the box, y'all. He said, I hope y'all get that reference. I think that's a very touchy reference there. We got Felicity coming through $10. Thank you, ma'am. Said love after dark will always come back. We can agree to disagree, and it's all love. Falcon and the Winter Soldier is all right, better than WandaVision, but it's not connecting completely with me. I have unpopular opinions, but respect to all, and that is a fact.
Hey, that's what's up. It's not gonna be for everybody, Lady Main.
Nope.
We totally understand.
Maybe.
Totally understand,
Right.
and still love you just as much.
Yep, because we know you're gonna wind up still watching it, and
Of
we know
course.
you're gonna find something else to love out of something else. I think she'll really like She-Hulk. I think She-Hulk she'll like that.
Yep.
For sure.
Agreed.
We got Dirt Wizard with the 499. Thank you. So a little super chat Sunday love coming at you guys. Jazz it up.
Love it.
Right. We got Daniel Fisher coming through with the $5. Thank you. So just a little love for the After Dark crew. We'll try and stay up for the next round of insanity. Take my money.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
100.
Oh yeah. From Rogue Soul with the $5. Thank you, sir. Say it again, man. Say it loud and proud. Happy birthday.
Yeah.
To Mr. Anderson.
Let's make it rain for Mr. Anderson and get some of them nerd coin emojis in the chat for the homie.
Yes, sir.
Break him off a little bit of that birthday love. Happy birthday, man. Do it big, do it big.
Do it big. Then we had Felicity come through with the $5. Said karaoke night on the NERDVENGERS stage was awesome. Talent is in the den. Some of the fellas was panty dropping and the ladies was setting it off. And man, it definitely
100% this. Man.
It was some of that, but you know, Vegas.
There you go. I will say this. We're going to have to do that at least once a month. Probably only once a month. Because too much of that will turn up be too real.
Wouldn't it?
They had the boys spinning tunes last night. I couldn't even keep up with the requests. I was like, man, hold on. I ain't DJing for real. I'm just finding some good mixes for us to jam out too.
Nah, man. You was sure on the ones and twos last night.
Hey, I can get the DJ voice going, but
we'll see you on Twitch next.
There you go.
Watch. That'd be funny.
There you go.
We got Tim coming through with the €5. Thank you.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you, sir.
Euro. So much love to the main gang and all the nerd. To my big bro Sheev, and happy birthday to Mr. Anderson. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Indeed. And Zach Raymond, I do in fact listen to DJ Quick. He didn't make the rotation, but again, we'll definitely be spinning tunes more often. I just don't know if them other shenanigans gonna pop off like that. But man, right. And then Felicity coming in again with another $5. Says Alan Lavis had to put together in the tip jar for our DJs. Al the Ruler Shula and Lavis the Lover Man deserve much love. Appreciate it.
Yes.
Appreciate
yes, sir.
it. Just remember that everything we do is for the people.
Yes.
You know
all
what
day,
I'm saying.
Every day. Right. We got a place where you can turn up. You got a place where you can turn down, wind down. Place where you can be in the middle.
Hey, Kavai. Don't tell. G14 classified player. Don't do that. Don't do
Right.
that, man. Like, they can't know that. They can't know that that's me. That's why it's under an assumed name, and I always wear my panda mask.
Exactly.
Yeah, quiet with that one.
Quiet. You gotta wait till everybody leaves first about that.
Yeah, man.
Stinger.
That's that part.
Yeah. Right. But yeah, it's been a great week.
Oh,
we got
man,
some
hasn't
good
it?
content. We got there's other things to watch out there too, people. You
Yeah.
got Falcon and Winter Soldier. Why you waiting for that? You got some Invincible out there.
Hey,
Yeah,
that
watch
last
Invincible.
episode, yeah.
I haven't watched it yet. Hush. I haven't watched it yet.
Get on it.
I do need to get on it.
Oh,
Probably
man.
right after this. I need to get on it. I've been busy.
Yeah,
I've been busy, but I know
man.
Invincible was pretty dope. We're about to have Mortal Kombat coming out this week.
This
I believe.
week, man. So that's right. We got to do a
Yeah,
watch
man.
party, don't we? We got to, because we
Mhm.
watched some MK, but we still ain't watched the OG, right?
Yeah, we didn't watch the OGs. We satiated that with some other properties from Mortal
Mhm.
Kombat. But yep, we got to get that watch party going so we can get that Mortal Kombat.
Yeah,
in,
man. We got to do that for sure.
Yep. So we can definitely see the difference.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
it's going to be one hell of a
One
difference.
hell
besides
of a
the fact
difference.
that they're
Tell
just
them.
from two different decades. You know what I'm saying?
I'm serious.
The stories and everything is just I think it's going to be
Hey,
the way it looks.
Felicity, the only way we can do a Purple Rain watch party is if it's Purple Rain and Graffiti Bitch back to back. It's got to be Purple Rain and Graffiti Bridge back to back.
Yeah.
And then maybe some Under the Cherry Moon on another day.
Right.
But
As long as we
yeah,
pull up in our little red Corvettes
that's it.
and be sympathetic when doves cry.
And we will hand
We'll be
out
all right.
NERDVENGER raspberry berets.
Man,
And
you had me until you said the berets, which is Nerdvenger raspberry sounds delicious.
You don't want to, well, yeah, raspberry, but you don't want to wear a raspberry beret. I think you look dope in it, man. You know, the kind you find in the secondhand store.
Like you, I'd have to see it first.
You'd have to, I feel
Before
that.
I
I
go
feel
sign
that.
I'd have to see it first.
Facts.
But I don't know. I gotta be thinking about a new flavor of the drink. Nerdvenger raspberry.
Hey,
Sound
might
bad.
be one. They can have it with their starfish and coffee.
Right. We'll have to put that in with the 5 purple heartbeats.
Oh man, I'm trying to tell you,
Yeah.
a NERDVENGER
God,
heart.
for a second.
A NERDVENGER heart is a house for love.
Right. Yeah, that's what I've learned.
Stand up. Look, that's a little.
If you understand.
Man, look, we finna start it all over again on screen. Let's not
Right.
do that. Let's
Right.
not do that.
Right. For A-Park comes through with the 499.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, Mr. Anderson. Also, how much nerd coin for a freestyle session from Al? Nerd coin to see Lavis spit some bars.
I don't think there's enough nerd coin for that.
Not for me. I can drop some songs for you.
There you
song
go.
and bar.
There you go. Yeah, man. That's
One.
Discord only.
Everybody gets one. Yep.
1 mil. Hey,
1
okay.
million?
Look, so I will do this straight up.
I guess we found a
and I'm
number.
gonna say this. I'm saying this. I am saying this on screen so that now it is officially official. This was something that I already
man.
had. I had already committed to this with one NERDVENGER, and so now I'm about to do it. So shout to JT, because JT hit us up and hooked us up with a purple mane picture emoji that says "turn up," and I told the homie, I said, if After Dark gets a video that hits 1 million views, I will live stream me getting the purple mane emoji tatted on my calf, and I mean it. But I will take it a step further. If we get 1 million views, I will not only get the purple mane emoji tat, but I will give you on screen live a Sweet 16. I'll do it. Give me 1 million hits, and you will get I will give you, matter of fact, I'll give you a whole damn song when we get to 1 million. I will drop live a whole track on camera, on the show, live stream, and then we will NFT that bad boy.
Yeah,
we
I was
will,
about to say,
we will NFT it.
I would at least co-sign on the 1 million views for a track, for a song.
That's
live
it.
Out, yeah.
That's it. We will
yeah.
1 million.
You know
We getting the tat, and we will drop an After Dark track for you boys.
I didn't say anything about I might. You gotta catch me. So here's a weird thing about me and tattoos. If you don't know, you probably don't know this. I have 0 tattoos. I do not have any. I have no desire for them, but I do get these wild hairs every once in a while. Tattoo, but it comes once every like 15 years, so I probably won't want a tattoo until I'm like 38. But yeah, I co-sign everything else.
Totally I ate no expectations for you on the tat. That's all me, man. That's all.
Yeah.
Me.
And I think even Josh said he'd do it.
Hey, look, you put one of the After Dark. You put one of them After Dark videos at 1 million hits, and I might have to add it. I might be open to adding even another stipulation on, in addition to the tattoo and the track on the live stream, because that's a pretty high bar, man.
Yeah, I would say that is a pretty high bar.
It's a pretty high bar.
Even be willing to, there might be some stipulations that happen that just cause.
Just saying. Real. You know what I'm saying? So, but straight up, that is the bar. You get us to 1 million. You get one video. I ain't saying we got to get 1 million subs. I want one video with After Dark at 1 million views, and we will make the song. No, I ain't stripping for nobody, bro. You can miss me with that bullshit. Like right now, we ain't going there. No, see, you about to make me say something that's gonna get us canceled.
We about to get off here.
You about to make me. You about to make me say something. Well, let me sit up and remember that we still on the stream, right. And this ain't After Dark. Because I'm
see. We got a minute anyway.
Mm-mm.
So yeah, T Love 816 comes back to $5. So y'all do background. Not wrong about that. And then we had Rogue Soul come through, said not even like a tiny outline of Triforce Slavis. Come on now. Yeah, maybe. We'll consider it. But before y'all try to trigger either hour, like we always say,
you ain't got to go home, but you got to get the hell up out of here.
For sure.
Stripping on camera. What the hell you think I look like it? Man, no. Man. I got some. If you think that's happening, I got some beachfront property in Idaho to sell you too, player.
For sure.
Serious. But we will catch you in the next episode. Yeah, see, they be on that bullshit sometimes.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
I love them to death, but no.
Yeah, we had to hurry up and get up out the building before they try to take it there.
Yeah.
But hey, you know, it's the NERDVENGERS, man.
Indeed.
That's what they do.
Indeed. And I love them for it. But Kavai is right. They start talking about scripting, and I'm like, I'm out, bro. Deuces.
Right. He said that's not in the script.
No, not at all.
Flip the script. Most def. I wonder what Mr. Anderson's gonna do for his birthday.
That's a good question, man.
I think he might have already stated what he's gonna do on his birthday. Yeah. So, you know, it's almost like the same thing we do, but we do it a little differently because, you know, we out here like how we do it. You know, we nervous every day.
You see, this is exactly why you can't give NERDVENGERS nothing. We sign off. We gave him a dope episode, and all I see in the chat is where the stinger at. Where the stinger? Where the stick? Man, like we got lives. I got family. I've been NERDVENGERing for 30 years.
30 years. It was 2 weeks to retire.
I've been trying all my life for these NERDVENGERs. And this is what I get.
Rest.
They won't let me rest. Lord.
His old bones.
It's
been 86 years.
86 years. Tired. I'm so tired. Josh works us so hard. The NERDVENGERS, they want us in the Discord. They want us on the live streams.
You know why? Because they said it here in the NERDVENGER City, we take our stingers very seriously.
Very seriously. Very seriously. Mm-hmm. But I'm about to take myself up high to the
upper room with Jesus.